Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the regular City Prescott Council meeting to order. It is Monday, March 25th at 6 o'clock. Roll call, Bailey.
Here.
Maureen.
Here.
Pat.
Here.
John.
Here.
Lindsay, and Dar is excused. Everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Council received public comments on any issue related to agenda items. Limited discussion by the council may take place. Okay, hearing none. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Library Board minutes from February, Health and Safety Committee minutes from March 11th, City Council minutes from March 11th, Finance Committee minutes from March 20th, Twisted Oak Sidewalk Cafe approval for 2024, and approval of closure of Elm Street from Orange to Kinnickinnick for improvements by Market and Johnson to Prescott Intermediate School from June 3rd to August 28th.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Reports of standing committees and commissions. Finance Committee. Committee report. You want to take that, or you want me to do that?
I can give a update.
Okay.
So let me bring it up the minutes here, sorry.
I can,
So first we had an update from Ellers, which we had approved back in early 2023 to conduct a water study to submit to the Public Service Commission. Right now we're looking at a timeline of about 6 to 8 months for approval. The major reasoning why we approved this was because of the Locust Street, Elm Washington Street, and then the remediation of well number 3. So right now, that Public Service Commission will be submitted, or that application for review of our utility rates will be submitted, and that will be reviewed by the Public Service Commission. There will be a public hearing that will be a part of that. Right now, we're not for sure when that will be done, but we're hoping, or not, maybe not hoping, but looking towards beginning of 2025 before any new rate would be go into effect, and once we have more definitive information. The original thought was it was going to be about 120 a year when we first did a projection and approved it. However, the initial review projects it might be a little bit higher than that, from 120 to 150. But again, that is still pending a Public Service Commission review. Before anything is finalized, they get to make the final determination. Then we reviewed our debts and future projects. Due to the Elm and Washington Street coming in under budget, we still have about $230,285 in bond proceeds for road projects. So we discussed that in terms of moving forward with our update for our capital improvement plan for next year, or looking at updating it this year for 2024 or 2025, I'm sorry, to 2032. So we're going to be putting those bond proceeds to future road projects to reduce or eliminate future potential borrowings. Then we discussed the 2024 mill and overlay project. One of the things that is part of our borrowing, we have earned a high amount of interest, which is obviously the higher interest rates are unfortunate for people looking to borrow, but in terms of our savings and putting money into, not interest, but future, the word is escaping me, I apologize, future, there it goes. We have about $302,000 we've earned in interest so far on that borrowing. So again, looking to put of how we wanted to fund Monroe Street Mill and Overlay, that was expected to be a borrowing that we are not going to move forward with as a result of having that interest, and we will do that. The discussion was that we will put that forward towards paying that instead of doing that borrowing. And then Public Works equipment, one of the things that we've done recently is we've had our crew doing more and more projects in order to save funds, but one of the things that we are looking for, or that is requested, was equipment to do that work, specifically storm sewer repairs on Cherry Street. We did Orange Street last time, Monroe Street again this year as well. So we discussed moving forward with the purchase of a new front skid steer and also trading in our existing mini excavator for a little bit larger one as well. That was approved, and that will be before you at our next council meeting. And then finally, we just discussed impact fees and looking at doing a study. Staff is going to look for companies that are able to do an impact fee study in terms of updating our rates. And then the wastewater treatment plant, looking out and discussing with engineering firms about updating, doing an update to our wastewater plan that we did back in 2010 and updating that for the future. So that wasn't quick, but a lot of topics to over from our last week's meeting.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Okay, Parks and Public Works Committee report.
Just met today. We talked about the US Highway 10 and State Highway 35 agreement update. There is going to be a small section of the sidewalk that we'll have to work on over the coming years with the resident of that property. For parks items, we discussed the Blue Trail construction at McGee Park and the funds that we have set aside for them. And moving forward, staff is going to work with Cedar Corp to see what we need to do to bring this to bid, and also actually, the Cool River Trails Group is doing that, just kidding. Riverfront improvements for Phase 2, we talked about grant discussions. There are some stipulations with the Knowles Nelson grant regarding right-of-way versus easements, so staff is going to be reviewing that and giving us an update as the best way to approach that. And then the Freedom Park shed request is tabled right now. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Is there an April meeting, Parks meeting?
There will be, hopefully, every
The
third
agenda says next meeting May, but
May.
Currently, we were planning on putting it towards May just because the meeting would be right before our organizational meeting and transition potentially.
Good call.
Okay, so is that what we're shooting for, is May 20th for the next meeting? Okay, I stepped over Planning Commission. Next meeting will be Monday, April 1st at 6 o'clock. Health and Safety, next meeting Monday, May 13th at 5. Personnel, Wednesday, May 1st at 5 o'clock. Are those all good times?
Yes.
That's all good? Okay, thank you. So the next item on the agenda is public comments. The city will receive public comments on any issue not related to agenda items. When discussion by the council may take place, however, no action will be taken on any item, includes receiving a written request, documentation, possible action at a future meeting.
Something I'd like to bring up, or I guess maybe put the thought in. I know we had talked about 2 meetings ago, having Cedar Corp, I believe, put together a plan or start thinking about a municipal facility, a larger one, a shared one. I would like to see us put together one that is just for a police facility. My thought on it is that, again, we don't have any new housing prospects this year so far. I think that where the trend of the economy is, and my thoughts on the city of Prescott and the growth that it has going, that I think we're overshooting our boundary or our target in thinking that the next phase is going that big. I think the next phase would be better served as getting something that needs to happen sooner, which is a police facility upgraded somehow.
I thought we had ended on police and fire. That's where we had said, and then plan for growth.
Did we?
Yes.
And if I missed that, then okay.
Yeah, because I was also not, like, plan for
Maybe
growth.
clarify for me.
Correct. The last discussion was looked at a planned public or police and fire building that would be public safety orientated in that. And just to be clear, that was looking out towards like 2029 is what we were doing, nothing.
So we're still looking at 5 years out. Okay.
Correct.
In the meantime, again, because it just keeps coming back to my head that we got snow blowing under a wall and we've got rodents getting in and things like that. what are there things that maybe we can do in the short to improve that situation?
I don't know, like,
So I was gonna say, we're gonna send Eric to, deal with road number.
I said feral cat last time.
But seriously, and I know that because, again,
I think we have been doing some of that maintenance though, because we have done some upgrades to that bill. I mean, nothing that is gonna make it,
We haven't done any structural.
nothing
or-
structural. What did we do for the,
like-
was it carpet and stuff? I thought we did
We've just
something.
been doing like inside renovations to make it look better.
Yeah, okay.
That's it. Nothing's been done structurally or anything to, negate the rodents or the weather getting in or the flooding of the furnace rooms or anything like that, so.
So I think, that's generally why we're speaking about trying to look at the overall assessment report in terms of our buildings in general, the needs assessment in terms of space, because the idea is if we're not going to do a larger scale renovation or a new building for public safety, we don't want to invest a whole bunch of money into these buildings if we're not going to keep them long-term, but we also want to make sure we're trying to plan around long-term, so that's why we want to
Right.
try to, from this
and I
point,
guess
create the plan.
my
of
point is
which-
maybe I'd like to see us come up with an immediate short-term plan to fix some of these things, if possible, within reason, or at least look at it. Because again, we're looking at 5 years before, and whatever situation he's got isn't gonna fix itself. It's only gonna get worse. And I don't know, it's been bugging me that they're having to deal. And if people wonder sometimes maybe why we have trouble retaining staff, if that's the facility that we're showing them and this is the best we've got for them, I'm sure that's not helping us at all either. Thank
Oh,
you.
good.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Those kinds of items, just to back on what you were saying, could go on our shorter facilities list, that we do it budgeting, I think. Then we should consider them, I think, as part of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Not, the next item on the agenda is
Oh.
ordinance.
Mayor,
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
just wanted an
Go ahead.
update on, in reading the minutes, I was reminded of the person who came and asked for a stop signs on Orange Street. And it struck me, where did those kinds of requests go? I mean, who is going to make the final decision
So in the
about
past,
something like
sure.
that?
Sure, in the past, we've used the Wisconsin Department of Transportation and what vehicle limits, because generally, again, stop signs don't slow people down, they temporarily stop them before they speed back up again to the speed they were going. That doesn't slow speed, so that's one of the reasons why, when you look at Locust Street or Elm Street, we put striping on, because it narrows the lanes. The narrow lanes have shown to slow traffic down. People generally want to stay within inside those lanes, so that helps reduce and creates calming effect. But generally, when we get these requests, Eric has a speed trailer. We go out and we collect data both on speed, but also vehicle counts that go by there to see if there is a need for a specific stop sign. I mean, generally, we haven't seen that, and stop signs is one of the requests we get quite often, specifically in people who feel they need intersections controlled from, a speed standpoint. So that's something we do, and that I think, right now, the speed trailer is currently out there, so we'll be collecting that
Is that
data.
on Orange and Elm? Is that
Orange and Elm, and I think Orange and Young.
Because that's the
Street.
one where I was agreeing with him, where I'm like, ugh, you can't, it's kind of like a blind thing too when you get up to the top of the,
Yeah,
No.
the only problem with putting a stop sign at Orange and Elm is that, so Kinney Kinnick kind of comes up
yeah.
and you level off.
Yeah, that one
Orange and Elm
you're,
doesn't level off,
Yeah, I
so
know.
you're stopping them on a hill. Well, in the wintertime, that's not gonna work very well.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, whatever the data says is what we'll do.
that was the
so.
one I did agree with on because I've walked that. It's,
Thank you.
yeah.
Can I just make a quick comment about it? I mean, I was the one who spoke about it, so I'll say something, I guess.
Gonna come up here, tell us who you are, where you live.
Stuart Paul, live on Gibbs and Orange. We talked about putting stop signs last time. I think about the data, and I think I might have mentioned this to you, Eric, already, but it was put out last week when it wasn't, we're in a spring break. So just to kind of put out. It's not there now, so I don't know what happened to it, but it was out there the majority of last week. But the biggest thing is the school times, pickups and drop-offs. It seems to be the big traffic times there. And was my biggest concern, is the kids walking to and from school or playing right after school. So this with the collection of data, I don't know if get out there again to kind of get a, I guess, broad spectrum of what the actual traffic is. So that was it.
Okay.
Thank
you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is ordinance 0124, an ordinance to repeal and replace chapter 443, article 1, junked vehicles and appliances. Carter's not here. Carter, you want to take that?
Yeah, so this ordinance is the most frequently violated ordinance in the city. We have encountered some challenges enforcing it. So what we did is we compiled kind of a comparison across 5 municipalities to kind of see what other cities are doing and how that works, and kind of better tool our ordinance to improve enforcement. So that ordinance is drafted within the packets today for the first reading. The staff recommendation would be to review the ordinance and move to a second reading for the April 8th, 2024 council meeting.
All right, thank you.
And I'll just add, this was one that we brought an ordinance back in 2023, and I think specifically Alderperson Rona, you brought up the fact that you wanted to see, to make sure that there weren't businesses that were affected, so that's why there is a sheltered provision in terms of fencing that allows, similar to what's on Horn Road currently right now, for Seawarts in terms of towing.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 0124.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the first reading of ordinance 0124. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is resolution 14-24, approving the contract for design, specifications, and construction engineering services by Cedar Corps for McGee Park.
I'll give just a brief background, I guess. Back in November of 2022, we approved working with Cedar Corporation for submitting a Knowles Nelson stewardship grant. Those items are all included in the phase 1 items of the concept plan that was put together that we worked with Cooley River Trails, which are here tonight as well. In total, the project for McGee Park was estimated at $554,000, and we budgeted $304,066 across 2024 and 2025 within our capital improvement plan. So we're very fortunate enough to get that grant that we got through the DNR Knowles Nelson program. So as now that we're awarded and we did receive our first round of funding, we're bringing forward tonight the contract, and I'll let Greg go over the contract. Turn it over to Greg Adams.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, Matt put together a good summary going back, looking at the history of the project, the planning and the grant. And I guess now we're moving forward on the proposal to look at the design services to put that into motion. So the contract goes through the scope of the work, which would include, there's some additional topographic survey we would have to do for the parking lot and the storm detention pond. We would look at preliminary designs of the trail system, the parking lot layouts, all of those features, public informational meetings with staff and committee, council, until we get to the final design documents for the plans to go, and specs to go forth with bidding, a revision of final public costs, or probable costs, permits that would be required, and then, like I said, the specifications, bid documents, and then it would go through the construction engineering services, which would be things like construction staking, observation, the administration of the contract, pay applications, closure of the project, and things that would be required of the grant too, for satisfying their requirements. So it does go through the surveying, locating services, engineering. I've just wanted to hit the high-level things there. Basically follows our standard summary of our scope of services that we do for that. The total is $72,100 fee for that.
So your engineering design services are all combined
It
now?
is,
So
yes.
it's basically all encompassing of
Correct.
the
It's-
project versus street projects where we do it separately,
Correct, yeah, there's a lot more, maybe timeline on that. This would be packed into within this year.
Yeah.
So,
Very exciting. I make a motion to approve resolution 1424 for the
I
contract for
second.
design.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 14-24 for the contract for design specifications, construction, engineering by Cedar Corp. for Manning Park.
Let's go.
Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll do roll call. Bailey?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
Pat?
All right,
John?
Aye.
Lindsay?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you, Greg.
I didn't realize this is gonna be done in November.
I know.
It's like, wow,
Fast.
it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is approval for agreement for topographic surveying services by Cedar Corp. for the second phase of the Riverfront project at a cost of $6,300. Greg?
yeah, and Matt had put together another summary here for you. It talks about kind of with the next steps going forward with the Riverfront Phase 2 project. And basically, this is just the surveying and then the surveying also of the river for the potential new marina dock system there. So in the proposal, it describes the limits of the survey, which encompass the concept maps that have been put together. Would cover all of the areas that are included in the Riverfront Phase 2 project, along with the river bottom survey that would be needed. And then basically just putting together that survey map. And then eventually, so it doesn't include any design. So that would be a total of $6,300.
Make a motion to approve the agreement for the topographic surveying services from Cedar Corp. For the amount of $6,300.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the agreement of topographical surveying services by Cedar Corp. for second phase of our Riverfront project at a cost of $6,300. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you again, Greg.
Thank you.
Okay, other business, we have an organizational meeting Tuesday, April 16th at 5:30.
We had two other things in our packet.
This was part of the consent agenda.
Oh, okay, I missed that, sorry.
Yep, very good.
Okay, everybody good with the 16th organizational meeting?
Yep.
Okay, any other business?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
A motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.